Hi, I'm Marie. Welcome to Marie's Kitchen. I'm so glad you're here. Today we're making 1 bowl chocolate chip cookies. There's nothing I love better than a 1 bowl recipe, and for cookies, this recipe is it. There's no refrigeration required either, so you can whip this up for a last minute occasion. We just did some yesterday. It was my daughter's first communion and we needed some dessert to serve. We didn't have anything. I just totally forgot, and so my son actually whipped these up at the last minute. They turned out great. Everybody enjoyed them and they were so easy. I can't wait for you to try them. Let's get started. Real quick, let's take a look at the ingredients. You'll need 2 eggs, 1 cup white granulated sugar, 1/2 cup brown sugar, 2 teaspoons vanilla, 1 cup melted butter cooled, 2½ cups flour, 1 teaspoon baking soda, 3/4 teaspoon salt, and we're going to use about 15 ounces chocolate chips. These are semi-sweet. You can mix it up if you want to do half semi-sweet and half white chocolate chips. That's great. Or if you want to do half chocolate chips and half nuts, that is also a great substitution. All right, now let's get cooking. So first up, we'll preheat the oven to 350 degrees. Now we'll add our eggs to the bowl. Next is 1 cup granulated sugar and our 1/2 cup brown sugar. Now I'm going to use a whisk to give that a good mix, get those eggs really mixed in there well. You can do this as well in a stand mixer, like my KitchenAid stand mixer, but I do that often, but I also wanted to show that you can do it using just basic equipment like a whisk and a bowl if you want. I try to make my recipes as simple as possible, no special equipment required that everyone can do. All right, now we'll add our 2 teaspoons vanilla extract. I love vanilla in all desserts. We'll give that a quick whisk. It smells so good. Now we'll add our 1 cup of melted butter. So this is 2 sticks, and you can melt the butter either in the microwave or on the stovetop. Here's a quick tip. If you're melting the butter in the microwave, be sure to cover it with a paper towel because the butter will pop and kind of explode in your microwave when it's melting if it gets a little overheated, and that is a mess to clean up. So be sure to cover your butter with a paper towel if you melt it in the microwave, and kind of check it and stir it every 30 seconds so it doesn't overheat. The other option is to melt it on your stovetop just using a little pan. I like to do it that way. There is an extra item to clean up, but it's a pretty quick cleanup. So you can melt it on the stove as well. And then you just want to be sure you cool it a bit before you add it to the eggs and sugar, because if it's too hot, you don't want to end up with scrambled eggs. Now we'll add our 1 cup butter and give that one more stir. Really want to mix that in so it's nice and smooth. I love working with melted butter. It's, to me, a lot easier than creaming the butter. With creaming the butter, you really have to use a stand mixer or electric beaters. So melted butter makes things a lot easier. All right, that looks great. Nice and smooth. I'm going to set aside the whisk and switch over to a spatula, and we'll add our dry ingredients. So first up, we have our 2½ cups flour. We'll just pour that right in. Next is 1 teaspoon baking soda, and that will give these cookies a little lift so they rise up and get kind of puffy. And finally, our 3/4 teaspoon salt. I'm using kosher salt here with kind of bigger grains. If you're using a fine grain salt, then you'll want to use 1/2 teaspoon instead of 3/4 teaspoon. Add that in. I'm going to give that a little toss here with the dry ingredients. When you're doing a 1 bowl recipe for baked goods, you kind of want to toss those baking soda and salt with the flour so it gets mixed in a little before you mix it in with the wet ingredients. Now, of course, since I am doing a cooking show here, I have all my ingredients measured out in about 8 other bowls, but you don't have to do that. You can go straight into the bowl with each ingredient. So we're gonna mix this together. And you don't wanna overmix cookie dough. Same with muffins or quick breads. Overmixing can activate the gluten, which you don't wanna do, because you don't want a tough, kind of bready cookie. You want a nice, tender cookie. So we'll mix this together. All right, now we'll add our chocolate chips. We're just going to pour those in, and this is a lot of chocolate chips. It's about 15 ounces or 2.5 cups. We want these really chocolatey. And you can swap this out, as I mentioned, with white chocolate chips or with half nuts. So be creative there depending on what you like. I'm always a little wary of using nuts in cookies that we're gonna share since so many people are allergic to nuts these days. So I'm just sticking with chocolate chips today, but you certainly can switch in walnuts or pecans, would be delicious. Okay, there is our cookie dough. Wasn't that so easy? Now for scooping out the cookies, we're going to use a cookie scoop. This is about a 1 tablespoon scoop. And I love this one. The brand is KitchenAid. You can get other cheaper brands, but I'm telling you, they break so easily. So I would, if you can, find a KitchenAid brand or sort of a higher quality cookie scoop, and it'll last you a lot longer. So we'll scoop out the cookies and put about 12 on each cookie sheet. You want to leave about 2 inches between the cookies because they do spread a bit. Okay, now these are ready to go in the oven for about 14 to 15 minutes. You want to just cook them so they're a little golden on the bottom, still kind of soft in the center, and then they'll firm up as they cool. Now we'll get a second batch ready. Okay, the cookies are almost done, so I've got my oven mitts on. We're gonna grab those out of the oven and let them cool for about 5 minutes. Then you can move them to a cookie drying rack and let them cool completely. They look so good and they smell amazing. They've baked up so nicely with kind of crispy on the edges and soft in the center. Tons of chocolate chips, and they were so easy to make. Now we'll pop in our second batch and cook those up. I love to use a fish spatula for cookies. I use it for just about everything. If you don't have one of these, it's one more item you might want to take a look at. It's called a fish spatula, and it's just nice and small. It's really thin and it's kind of curved, and it gets under cookies really, really well. So we'll just pop these over to our cookie drying rack. So there's one more thing I want to show you before we go, and that is these cute little stickers. The stickers say homemade with love, and then they have a couple of lines where you can write anything you want, or you can write the date, which is what we did, because the homeless shelter that we're giving these to requires you to put the date on them. So if you do want to do something like that, which I do encourage you to do, it feels great, and of course it makes a difference in your community. So if you'd like to, grab a roll of these stickers. I can put a link in the recipe. I got them on Amazon, and they say homemade with love. Then you just add the date and put them on a sandwich bag is what we used, and then just pop a few cookies in there. We did 3 per bag. Zip that up, and it is ready to go. Thanks so much for joining us on Marie's Kitchen. Today we made 1 bowl chocolate chip cookies packed with chocolate chips and tons of flavor, yet still so simple to make. I really hope you get to try these. For the recipe, check out my website, mariesaba.com. There you can go and print out this recipe as a PDF and all my recipes. And then if you like, punch holes in your PDF copies, put them in a binder, and make your very own Marie's Kitchen cookbook for free. If you like this video, be sure to give us a thumbs up. We so appreciate your likes. Also, if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. I've got new videos coming out every week and I don't want you to miss any of them. My goal is to give you some really easy recipes that turn out great every time so you can build some confidence in the kitchen and feel really inspired to share good food with people that you love. From my kitchen to yours, thank you.